come and also where we want to go. So thank you all for coming, and I hope you enjoy the day. Okay, I just want to say a little bit more about what the team means. And this year's team name is Isang Bagsak, Cultivating Unity. Even the greatest creations begin with a small idea. Isang Bagsak means one rise, one falls. And with this, we want to emphasize the importance of our community, the unity within our communities, and see how even with the smallest efforts, we can create big things with the movement.
Lastly, we want to take the time to thank all of our volunteers, our collaborators, and our sponsors. Without you, this event would not have been as successful, and it would not have happened. We also want to showcase how much effort has been put into this conference. We have been planning since December of last year, and it has taken a lot of time for us to settle all of the workshops, the presenters, and volunteers, and we just hope you have a great day. Thank you.
And now we're going to present some of our speakers, and Dr. IDEAS will be presenting our speakers for the day.
You guys hear me? All right, can we get a little pumped up for our speakers? We have a really good lineup. Let's hear it for them. So our first speaker is Ju Hong, but before he comes up, I want to tell you a little more about him. Ju Hong is the outreach coordinator for the National Asian American Pacific Islander DACA Collaborative, which is a national effort to coordinate outreach activities and provide legal services to individuals eligible for DACA Deferred Action program in major U.S. cities. Ju came to the United States from South Korea at the age of 11 and grew up in San Francisco Bay Area, California. He attended Laney College in Oakland, where he was elected the first Asian American and youngest student body president. Ju graduated from Laney College and transferred to the University of California, Berkeley, where he was the first undocumented student government senator in the UC Berkeley history. In 2013, Ju challenged the President Obama on a record number of deportations during his speech at the Betty Ong Center in San Francisco, California. His courageous actions appeared on national and international media. Ju graduated from UC Berkeley with a degree in political science. He is currently pursuing his master's degree in public administration at San Francisco State University. After he graduates from the program, he hopes to continue to advocate for immigrant communities through public service. Ju enjoys traveling, networking, and playing basketball. You can follow Ju on Twitter at JuHong89. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than your fear. Ju Hong, you are truly the definition of this. You're an inspiration to me because your passion and dedication to the immigrant community has always been more than your fear. But enough talking about Ju Hong, let me show you.
That's not it.
Hello, everybody. Let's begin our best. Get folks in Washington. Go ahead and read the board. Most importantly, we will live up. Most importantly, we will live up. Most importantly, we will live up to our character as a nation. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's wrong with it. What was that? Actually, I don't. And that's why we're here. Okay. Thank you. All right. What I'd like to do, don't worry about it, guys. How about, you guys don't need to go. Let me finish. No.
Isn't that amazing? What courage. Now please join me in welcoming the courageous Ju Hong.
All right, everybody, good morning.
Good morning.
Let me say that again. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I am incredibly honored and excited to be at the 8th Annual Immigrant Youth Empowerment Conference in UCLA. My name is Ju Hong, and I'm undocumented, unafraid, unapologetic, single, trilingual, and ready to mingle. I'm also founder of #Junie'sABoo. So please hashtag that. Follow me, Ju Hong 89. This year's theme is Isang Bagsak, Cultivating Unity. Even the biggest creations start with small ideas. And this theme is so critical to the immigrant movement as we continue to struggle in local and state and national level as we continue to fight for the rights of immigrant community. And this theme also resonates with my personal experience and my involvement as an undocumented immigrant rights activist. 2 years ago, on November 25th, 2013, the White House formally invited me to attend the President Obama's speech on immigration in San Francisco, California. And I was really excited to attend this event because I really wanted to hear what Obama had to say about the lives of 11.5 million undocumented immigrants, like my family. And on the day of the event, while I was waiting in line, a volunteer came up to me and said, "Hey, would you like to sit behind the president?" And I said, "Of course." And while I was waiting behind the podium and waiting to see President Obama, I really thought about what does it mean to see the president in person. And to be honest, I was very conflicted, and I had a mixed emotion. And so while I was juggling with these thoughts, President Obama came, and everybody stood up and cheering at him and taking pictures. And Obama waved back and smiled at the audience. And I was very close to President Obama. And naturally, I was very nervous because I cannot believe I'm seeing the President of the United States, who's the most powerful person in the world. But I try to stay calm and really try to listen to what he has to say to our community. But throughout the speech, I was very disappointed. I was disappointed because it was the same political speech that he gave in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012. He expressed his support for immigration. He failed to address an average of 1,000 undocumented immigrants facing deportation each day. He failed to address how he implemented anti-immigration deportation policies like secure communities. And he failed to address how he deported over 2 million undocumented immigrants across the country during his administration. And he failed to address how he deported more people than any other president in US history. And so at one point, He also talked about how he's going to spend time with his family during Thanksgiving. And I thought about my family too. I thought about my single parent mother. I thought about my older sister. Our family came to the US from South Korea in 2001. In South Korea, I remember my mom and my dad owned a small Japanese restaurant business in downtown Seoul. For a couple of years, the business went really well, but during 1997, there was an economic recession hit in South Korea and the rest of East Asia, and it hurt a lot of small businesses, including our family. And slowly, we were not making any income, and we were struggling day by day. And eventually, my mom and my dad had to give up our business and file bankruptcy. And ever since then, everything went downhill. 1 year later, my mom and my dad decided to divorce and went separate paths. And ever since then, I grew up, lived with my mom and older sister, barely surviving in our home country, South Korea. I remember we were living in a very small cubicle room, 3 of us, sleeping together, eating just one meal. If it's lucky, 2 meals a day. And that's how difficult and we were surviving every single day. It was very challenging for us. So in 2001, my mom made a bold decision and risked everything and decided to move to the US to seek a better life for me and my older sister. But as an immigrant, as a single parent mother, who tried to raise both me and my older sister in a new country, was definitely not easy. It was difficult. I remember how my mom worked 2 jobs at a restaurant during the daytime and nighttime. She went to a daycare center and working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, without resting, juggling with work and supporting me and my older sister to make sure that we get a good quality of education in this country. And I know she didn't complain in front of us, but I know deep inside that she is in pain and she's hurt. And so it's been very difficult to see my mother not getting any health benefits, not able to help her in many different aspects. And my older sister, she's an incredibly talented artist, and she had a dream to go to college. But because of her immigration status, when she found out, she became depressed, and she lost her motivation, and she preferred education, and instead she supported me to make sure that I get good education and maintain higher education, to make sure that I graduate college. And now she's close to 30, and she's still struggling to go to college. And she is currently working in a restaurant, mopping floors, washing dishes, while her friends and peers and colleagues have already graduated and have kids and got married and move on to the next chapter in their lives. And when I see my sister struggle and how she's struggling to obtain her education, it pains my heart. It's difficult to see how my mom and my older sister facing challenges every single day. So it's not easy. And so I have a concern about my mom and my sister. I'm afraid and I'm scared. In fact, I may not see them tomorrow or 2 days or 3 days from now. They do not qualify for or any administrative relief, so they could get deported at any given period of time. So when President Obama said he's going to spend time with his family, I thought about my family. How about us? How about people who are in detention center? People who want to see their kids? What about people who are facing deportation today? Might be separated from their kids or their parents? What about folks who are living in this country with fear constant fear, just wanting to reunite with their families and spend time together during Thanksgiving. So when he talked about that, I was angry and I was frustrated and I wanted to do something. But to be honest, I was scared and I was nervous. But then I thought about other courageous, undocumented youth and parents who stood up and risked their lives and have launched hunger strikes and marched rallies and events to demand President Obama to stop the deportation. With their courage and conviction, I was compelled to speak the truth to the President Obama. Enough is enough. Stop playing politics over immigrant families. And I told him to stop the use. And I told him to use your executive action to stop the deportation for all undocumented immigrants. But during our exchange, he said that he doesn't have power to stop the deportation. And yet in 2012, he implemented deferred action for childhood arrivals, or also known as DACA. And with the stroke of his pen, he changed the lives of thousands of young people like me, who can now live without the daily threat of deportation and now legally work in this country for the first time in our lives. So I simply ask him to use your executive action to expand DACA to provide administrative relief for 11.5 million undocumented immigrants who are living in this country, while we continue to pressure Congress to pass a fair and humane immigration reform. But he did not listen. And he, in fact, he ignored our voices. And because of inaction from Obama administration, families are being torn apart. Our parents are being separated from our children. Our brothers and sisters are being separate from one another. Our families are suffering. And so if they do not act, we must act, and we did. People stood up once again and picked up the sign and marched and led hunger strike, and some people even changed themselves, locked themselves, conducted civil discipline action in front of ICE building, and chanting, undocumented and unafraid. Undocumented, unafraid. Such a powerful statement. We were tired of being separate from our families. We wanted to demand justice. After a collective effort and consistent action, 1 year later, in 2014, President Obama finally listened to our voices and announced DACA Plus and DAPA, which would provide up to 5 million undocumented people in this country to get administrative relief. And it's a historic. It's not historic because President Obama announced it. It was historic because, once again, young undocumented youth at the forefront of this movement dared to challenge President Obama, dared to challenge the system that we want justice for all, and we did. And this is a clear example how even the smallest, even the biggest creations begin with small ideas with a collective effort. And we all know that this immigration issue is not only a Latino issue, as the national media always portray. There are about 11.5 million undocumented immigrants are living in this country. And among them, 1.5 million undocumented immigrants are coming from Asia. And in the Korean community, there are about 230,000 undocumented immigrants. Put it into perspective, that's 1 out of 7 Korean immigrants are undocumented. Let me repeat, that's 1 out of 7 Korean immigrants are undocumented. So moving forward, we need to work together. We need to work with API communities. We need to work with Latino communities. We need to work with faith communities. We need to work with different sectors and join one force to restore our dignity and fight for justice for all. So with that in mind, I want to close out with the Unity Clap. How many of you know the Unity Clap? Please raise your hand. So some of you know the Unity Clap, and some of you do not know the Unity Clap, so I'll just give you the historic background of the Unity Clap and how to do the Unity Clap. The Unity Clap came out of the United Farm Workers Union during the 1960s. There were prominent leaders like Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huerta, Philip Vera Cruz, Larry Leon. Were fighting for the rights of farm workers. And despite the fact that Filipino workers and Latino workers had language and cultural barriers, they stand united in solidarity after long, hard work. They came together and in solidarity by doing the Unity Clap. And with that spirit, we are going to the Unity Clap today. So the Unity Clap starts from your heart, because everything starts from your heart, and we will clap very slowly and slowly and slowly, and it gets faster and faster and faster and louder, just like a movement. And at the end, we'll say, Isang Bagsak, meaning one down, one fall. If one fall, we all fall. If one rises, we all rise. This is symbolizing that success comes from community effort. And when we say, not one more, it literally means not one more deportation. And when we say health for all, it literally means health for every single individual to get quality health care. So when we say Isang Bagsak, I want us to say as loud as we can, and let us think about why we're here. And let us think about people who are at detention center right now, seeking for justice. Let us think about people who are facing deportation today, being separate from their families. Let us think about migrants all over the world who are struggling, fleeing for their lives, trying to find a better life for themselves and their families. So let's shout out as loud as we can so that they can hear us, that we're in solidarity and we're standing united. So with that in mind, if you're able, can you please stand? Can everybody place your hand in your heart? Ready?
Hello, everyone. So can we get a round of applause for Juha? Our next speaker. Some folks have been requesting Spanish translation. So if you want a Spanish translation, can you please go to the left of the room, and they'll help you with the translation. Okay, so. Oh, yeah. Good point. So, si quieren que le traduzca al español, nomás puede irse a la izquierda parte del cuarto y ellos le van a ayudar. Muchas gracias. Okay, so the next keynote speaker is Mario Escobar. Mario Escobar is a writer, a faculty member in the Department of Foreign Language, and a STEM mentor at the LA Mission College. He authored several pieces, and some of them are Al correr de las horas, Gritos Interiores, Paciente 1800. He was born in El Salvador. He's a former child soldier. He came to the United States at the age of 12, and he was raised in South Central and East LA. In 2006, he worked with legislative allies and media to advocate for his immigration case, and he was able to earn asylum. In 2007, along with Sheila and collaboration with IDEAS, Mario participated in a fast for immigration reform. For his commitment in improving education for inner city youth, Escobar has been recognized by the City of Los Angeles, the California State Assembly, and the California State Senate. He has lectured about trauma of child soldiers at UC Santa Barbara and UCLA, at USC as well. In fall 2012, he, in collaboration with LAFC and Jimenez, and the Jimenez Porter Writers House of University of Maryland, Escobar directed weekly workshops for undocumented students at Northwestern High School in Prince George's County. Escobar holds a BH in Spanish Literature and Chicano Studies from UCLA and an MA in Spanish Literature from Arizona State. And he obtained his PhD in University of Maryland. So can we have a round of applause for Mario Escobar? So before Mario speaks, we're going to watch a really quick clip.
Technical difficulties. Well, first of all, I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm looking at all of you, and every single one of you inspires me. Your courage to take a step towards changing your future is a step towards changing your community, your family, yourself. And maybe you don't get it right now, and that's okay. Because this understanding will eventually come when you, a breathing, loving human being, starts understanding your fears. And we've talked about fears today. We've heard it from Jude. Fear is something very powerful. According to psychologists, fear is a vital response to physical and emotional danger. However, that is not the fear that I want to talk about. The fear I want to talk about is the fear that many undocumented students from the community go through every single day. Fear that has the power to penetrate our spirits and change us internally, and thus hold us back from achieving our goals, from changing our destiny. Now, that is very powerful. It might seem a contradiction, but it's the same fear that has the power to propel us forward and put our character through high levels of stress. However, if we don't pay attention, we run with the risk of wasting time and energy because we are so engaged in the situation that causes fear
And we pay little attention to the things that we can learn from this process. This fear is the type of fear that even the boogeyman or the kukui will call his mama. Not having money to pay for tuition. What would the future be like after I graduate? What if I go to San Diego with my friends? What if I get stopped by immigration? What if I am not prepared for college? Am I good enough for college? As undocumented students, we know this too well. As undocumented students from the community, when faced with this issue, we experience high levels of stress, increased respiration, increased heart rate, wandering thoughts of discouragement. Am I good enough? All of this is built in our minds until we are brought down to our knees in full panic attack. We are so afraid. And that is no way to learn. That is no way to live. So, I'm here today. They invited me to inspire you, but you inspire me. And I want to talk about fears because I know fears. So how did I survive my fears? Or better yet, how did I coexist with my fears? I like to answer that question by telling you a little bit about my life and how I came to be a professor, being an undocumented student. This process, or what I like to call metallurgical process, metal is placed under high levels of heat until it bends. But guess what? It's still metal. We can cry, we can scream, we can get upset, but the essence of our character should remain the same. The first stage of my life deals with the exposure to situations that gave birth to fear. I am from El Salvador, born in 1978. I was born in the middle of a war. At the age of 3, this is what my uncles tell me. My mother, Bruce, and this is a little bit strong for you guys to hear, but this is the truth. My mother was raped by the military and taken out of the country. She left. She couldn't take me out of the country. In 1985, we were walking from El Mercado, from the market, my grandmother, my cousin, and I. All I saw was my grandmother push me with it and told me to stay quiet. She was about to do the same with my little cousin. And then I saw the military. They put her down on her knees, took out a gun, and they took my grandmother's life in front of me. Then they did that with my little cousin. That was my first exposure to fear. In 1986, it was on the news in El Salvador, and there was a picture of my father. They had captured my father. He was executed in 1986. In 1988, I had no one who were finished. Really scared. I was forced into a world of atrocities, given an M16 at the age of 10, and told to fight. I became a child to be a fighter at the age of 10. In 1989, During a combat, I was captured by the military, tortured for 11 months. I was glad that I was rescued by a group of mujeres known as comadres. I left El Salvador. Riding on the train. While riding the train, I saw a man jump out of the train because the Mexican immigration came for us. He lost his leg. But finally, I made it to the United States. I met with my mother. And there, a new life began. Which leads me to the second stage of my life. Deals with internalizing and engaging in fear. Living in South Central, and sometimes in East LA was the early 90s, gangs, so much negativity around me. My mother was very young. She was only 28 with a 40-year-old son. She was in a very abusive relationship. So I left. And I started living on my own at the age of 16. In 1994, I organized the student walkout in Jefferson. We had to take a stand against 187 Pitbull's SOS, Save Our State. Yes, Save Our State. I was kicked out of high school. I like to say that I dropped out of high school, but in reality, I was kicked out of high school. Sent to adult school, and I said, no worries. I'm on my own now. But in the process of dealing with all of this, I was afraid. I was afraid, what am I going to do? I was afraid that I was going to probably be stopped by the cops for doing my thing. What I did was just start looking into myself. And I realized that I internalized every single fear I had. I thought of myself as being no good. But I changed all of that because I started believing in myself. And I said to myself, you know what? You are more than your fear. I started community college. I started organizing again. First, I wanted to be a plumber. I failed all my plumbing classes. And so one of the professors said, I think you'll be a good writer. You know, of course, in the native language. So I graduated from LA Trade Tech Community College. And when I was getting ready to transfer to UCLA, they said, oh, you don't have a high school diploma. So I went and got my GED. Of course, I got my college degree first. Mind you, I never went to school when I was a kid. Then I transferred to UCLA. And the first time, I went to Ashton, and I told them I was sick, and they said, are you sure you are a UCLA student? Are you sure you're just doing this because you want to get help? Okay. I looked at the lady and I started crying. I went to AAP and I talked to one of the professors. His name was Adolfo Bermeno. And then he said, you know what? There are other students like you with the same problems. And we came together. Some of them have been discriminated on campus, just like me. And guess what? An idea was born. IDEAS, the organization that now is doing this, was born. We started IDEAS because we were upset and we said, enough. We belong here as much as you do. So that leads me to the third stage in my life, understanding the origins of my fear. Activism. In 2004, we received the news. I was being arrested, placed into deportation. I was afraid. Go back to a country that pretty much destroyed my childhood, that destroyed my mother, to destroy my father, my whole family, with the help of Ronald Reagan, of course. I looked at my wife, and I looked at my 1-year-old, actually she was 1, and I said to my wife, no worries, we're going to get through this, because I am more than you. Going to class, preparing for midterms, preparing for finals, and guess what? My deportation for funny thing fell the same time when I had my midterms and finals, a day before. Some were a day after. I had to prepare for college. At the same time, I had to prepare my little bag because I didn't know if I was going to be deported. In 2006, a judge decided to give me political asylum. I was one of the last Salvadorians to earn political asylum. 2007, I graduated from UCLA with Department of Economics. I want to leave you with this message. Every day you will go through this process that will alter the composition of who you are. But remember, as I stated, you are more than your fears. If you fear a situation, the fear is not due to the situation, but to the view you have of it. And this, you have the power to change, because you have been melted into something powerful and beautiful. A warrior of the community, a champion of unity, and you can do it. I did it. I went from being a child soldier, a gardener, a dishwasher, to being a UCLA student, a graduate student, and now a college professor. Para los padres que hablan la dulce lengua del español, quiero darle las gracias por estar aquí, porque este es el primer paso que ustedes han dado para cambiar el futuro propio, el futuro de la comunidad. La educación es importante, es un paso hacia el cambio de la familia. Y tal vez pueda que no entiendan eso ahora los jóvenes que todavía están en la high school, pero ese conocimiento vendrá una vez empiecen a entender o a coexistir con sus miedos. Según los psicólogos, el miedo es una respuesta vital hacia el peligro físico, pero el miedo del que hablo no es ese tipo de miedo, es el miedo que todos los días estudiantes indocumentados, padres indocumentados tienen que sufrir. Ese tipo de miedo tiene el poder de penetrar nuestro espíritu cambiar internamente nuestras perspectivas y consecuentemente impedir que alcancemos nuestras metas, impedir que cambiemos nuestro destino. ¿Cuántos de ustedes como padres han tenido miedo de salir de la ciudad? Mi mamá, limpiando casas, le piden que vaya a limpiar una casa a Temecula. Buen dinero, pero luego dice, no, da miedo porque hay migración. Ese es el tipo de miedo del que hablo. El miedo que tiene el estudiante indocumentado si será posible el próximo semestre pagar la colegiatura. ¿Qué tal si me deportan mañana? Imagínense ustedes vivir constantemente bajo ese miedo. Pero ¿saben qué? Puede parecer contradictorio, pero es ese mismo miedo que tiene el poder para impulsarnos hacia adelante, a pesar de encontrarnos bajo altos niveles de estrés. Y si no prestamos atención, corremos con el riesgo de perder tiempo y energía enfocándonos en el simple miedo y no en el proceso de lo que podemos aprender. Como les vuelvo a repetir, todos tenemos miedo, hasta los estudiantes que están en la high school. Yo recuerdo, cuando me preguntaban, ¿vas a ir a la universidad? Me daba miedo porque no me sentía seguro, no sabía leer en inglés. También padres, sus hijos también tienen esos miedos. ¿Qué tal si no logro alcanzar mi sueño de graduarme de la universidad? Todas estas preguntas agobian nuestra mente. Como estudiantes indocumentados, como estudiantes de la comunidad, esto es algo que conocemos muy bien, muy de cerca. Como estudiantes indocumentados, sufrimos altos niveles de estrés, miedo de tanto el padre como el hijo que es indocumentado cae en la vida. Sentimos pánico. Y esa no es manera de aprender, esa no es manera de vivir. Pero son los políticos, Obama, el Congreso, que no hace nada. Sí, es como darle un dulce a un niño y decirle, ten paciencia, ya vamos a cambiarlo todo. Muchas promesas. Y voy a decir algo. Now go ahead and translate this in English. That a lot of the dreamers are powerful, beautiful, but some of these politicians have the power to take you. Hillary Clinton is doing that. Please think about it. Don't let these politicians fool you. No dejen que estos políticos los engañen, les mientan, les prometan cosas que no pueden cumplir. Jóvenes, young people, we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility with our parents that migrated, that jumped the border. Some of us did it. And that we cannot forget. Cruzar la frontera, arriesgar todo, hasta la vida, life. We cannot risk that anymore. We are here. You're taking a step. You're educating yourself. And yes, sí se puede. Todos, sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Vamos, sí se puede. Sí se puede. Yes, we can. because we are community oriented. Thank you.
Such powerful keynote speakers. Let's give them another round of applause. And our next and final keynote speaker is often referred to as Tita Manning by the Immigrant Youth and Advocates that she works with. Literally means Auntie Manning. Maddie Villanueva is an undocumented mother who works with Aspire Los Angeles. Originally from the Philippines, she moved with her family to the United States to seek better opportunities for her daughters. But due to complications with the immigration system, they lost their status and became undocumented. In 2010, Maddie and her family attended the third annual Immigrant Youth Empowerment Conference for the first time hosted by IDEAS at UCLA, where she learned of the possibilities for her family in spite of their immigration status. Through the years, her daughters grew into powerful immigrant leaders as members of Aspire Los Angeles and are now organizing with undocumented youth in their universities through RISE at UC Berkeley and IDEAS at UC Santa Barbara. In 2014, Maddie first shared her story as an undocumented mother during a press conference for the AB540 driver's license. But she had to postpone her advocacy efforts after being diagnosed with cancer. Even in bed though, Maddie Villanueva found a way to continue advocating for immigrant rights by sharing her story as an undocumented and uninsured mother, highlighting the need for healthcare access for the immigrant community in California. Today, Maddie continues her immigrant rights advocacy by sharing her experience to inspire others and uplift the stories of undocumented immigrant parents like herself. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Maddie Villanueva.
To all students, educators, fellow parents, community organizers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. 5 years ago, my family and I were among the audience of this remarkable conference. That was the time when a documented mother like me was very anxious about my two daughters speaking in this country. As our divine providence has always an answer to every prayer, I suddenly received an email from my daughter's high school counselor announcing its third youth immigrant empowerment conference sponsored by the IDEAS at UCLA. While the message focused on undocumented students who can benefit from this conference, we found it very interesting and we were eager to attend. This title will change our lives as undocumented. Like all the mothers sitting down in this conference today, I had that most scary feeling that my two daughters, Madeline and Madison, would definitely be able to finish high school, but was afraid that they could not get into college because of our status. Added to that is the dilemma that they could not even land a job, granting them to finish college after all. As one of the listeners at the time, I remembered that one of the keynote speakers was one of the first undocumented students who graduated from UCLA in a law degree. There was one part from the speech that really melted my heart as I pondered on his words. I cannot forget how he expressed his own sentiments and frustrations with the reality that having graduated with a low degree from UCLA, he was not even sure if he could land a job when he could practice his degree to start his own career. Out of desperation, he told the audience that he might go back to his home country instead so he can practice what he had aspired for. I found myself crying in my seat because I saw in him the future of my two brothers at that moment. When we succeeded on my conference, it became a challenge for me to attend with my two brothers studying alone. The very part that I love most is listening to the students speakers. Their message will always be making values. But all those years that I have listened to their stories, their message of giving me great hope and confidence, my two brothers can eventually overcome their own hurdles, just like those speakers. Listening to the activism effort made me wish that Madeline and Madison would be able to take part in this kind of activities. That would really make me a proud mother. During its sixth year empowerment conference in 2013, a very amicable student from UCLA, in the name of Denise Isang approached us during the conference day. At that time, Madison was in the process of enrolling in Mrs. Santa Barbara as a college freshman. The first question my daughter asked Denise was about some kind of resources that she can utilize to find an affordable accommodation in Santa Barbara. The niece was so quick to lend my daughter a helping hand. I can also remember the first question that Denise asked Madeline about her intended major. When my daughter told her that she's still undecided, Denise was so compassionate to reply that it's okay if Madeline is still undecided. This started the never-ending friendship that they carried along until now. The kind of friendship that extended to other undocumented youth like Anthony Lam and Second Peter, walking here in front of him. Last year, on his second year empowerment conference, I was so proud seeing Madison as co-representative Denise in one of its seminar sessions. This year, Madison is being elected as co-chairman of IDEAS at UC Santa Barbara. Likewise, my other daughter Madeline has gotten into UC Berkeley through the scholarships that she learned to source out by attending to this kind of programs. It might be too shallow to feel, but it was just a fulfillment of my dream as an undocumented mother. My fellow parents, we all know that the road to legalization is very long and it's still being chaotic. Most of us have gotten older, the people that got involved someday our prayers will be answered, despite political interventions. Let the aspirations of our children become the center of our hope, because they themselves are not giving up. So let's not give up. And like Jose Antonio Vargas and the rest of the undocumented youth, advocated for the passage of certain bills with the deferred actions, the California Green Act, and the driver's license for undocumented, we as parents should rally behind them. Let us be an inspiration to them, so that every little step that they climb becomes a giant pathway, achieving the most needed reform that we are all clamoring for. As for me, being a mother of two undocumented students, advocating of immigration issues is one of my priorities. And this fight has just started. Thank you all for listening to my story, and we wish each and every one of you the best of everything.
Wow. Let us thank our amazing keynote speakers today. It was great to hear such empowering stories of unity and activism. You are all so brave. We have an amazing program for you all today. Are you excited? But first, let me explain what's going on. So all of you have folders, am I correct? Okay. So at registration, like I said, you're given a folder. Inside your folder, you will find the program. You'll find a piece of a sheet of paper blank, that's for your notes. You also will find our pamphlet with our information about the AB540 project. Also evaluation forms, which you will turn in at the end of the day. And also a blue ticket. Do you guys have your blue tickets? Okay, those are very important, so you need to keep them with you, okay? Those are your meal vouchers. So once we are gonna have session 1, which is education. Once that is done, we're gonna come here again to the academic ballroom, and it's gonna be lunchtime. So those tickets, there are your meal vouchers. What you need to do